Coming up on the Jeff Crilley Show, 40 years ago, in fact, this 4th of July, she'll celebrate 40 years in this country. She came here with $50 in her pocket. She went on to become an amazing speaker, best-selling author, and business coach. You're going to hear her incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, this describes millions of Americans. They play the blame game. If only we had a different president, if only we had a different economy, I would be doing well. Try coming to this country with $50 in your pocket. That's a challenge. You have to have true grit to make something of yourself when you come to this country with no relationships whatsoever and $50 in your pocket. That describes my next guest. Lorna Sherland is in the studio. She's a speaker, best-selling author, and business coach. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. For having me here.
Of course. Well, I'm so impressed with you. Let's go back 40 years ago because you were saying it was the 4th of July. You land in New York. You came from Jamaica?
Yes,
Okay.
from Jamaica. Straight, not Jamaica Queens.
Okay.
Jamaica, Jamaica West Indies.
There's a difference.
Yeah, let's be clear. Yeah, I came from Jamaica, the hot Jamaica, and I was just sharing with you that when I got here, it was freezing, and I was like, "What have I done with my life?" But you know, you can't stay comfortable all the time, right? So since then, I've been stepping into life. Since then, you know, so I'm super excited to be here.
You strike me as a person who has tremendous confidence. Where did that come from?
You know, I think it's my mom. My mom, even today, she's 83, and no matter what, she's going to be like, you know, I am doing this and I'm going to stand my ground. That's it. You know, so I think I learned that from her.
And that's probably helped you in your coaching style because you're pretty much a truth teller.
Yes, I am. I'm known as a disruptor. So if you're tired of being comfortable, growth only happens in the uncomfortable, right? So you got to have somebody with you to walk you through that uncomfortableness. You can't do it alone. You get to have a support system around and really help to move you forward, or you can really lose a lot of time and a lot of impact that you're meant to do in this world. So
absolutely. We're going to pull up our website, and as we scroll down the website, let's talk about your most popular speech. When you're called on to speak, what's your topic?
You know, one of the things that helped me all these years, my first experience of transformation was when I went to T. Harv Ekker's Millionaire Weekend. That I was like, what is this? Who are these people? And ever since then, I've been on that journey. I believe that we are here to be transformed. I believe that we're here to figure out who we are. And when we do that, we're able to impact lives just like you, Jeff.
Oh, thank you.
I heard you say, this is what I heard you say, which is very, very important that people get to hear for themselves. I left my comfortable life.
And that was the scariest thing I ever did.
Exactly.
I was a 19-year-old student reporter in Michigan when I started my career, and I left when I was 45, and now I'm on an amazing journey. But it was uncomfortable at first.
Exactly,
yes,
right?
Yes.
You got to step to, in order to become and be the impact that you were created to be, you got to step into the uncomfortable. And that takes some grit, right? Now, difference between grit and grind. Let's get clear on that. We're not talking about grind because that's how we've been living so far, which is what we're going to uncover at the Grit and Thrive Live event here in Irvine, coming up.
Since you mentioned it, let's put this on the screen,
Yeah.
and we're going to hold it on the screen for a little bit so people can copy down that domain.
Yeah.
What will people experience there?
They're going to experience a discovery. This is not a regular conference. This is a conference, an experience, not a conference, that when they're there, they're going to uncover and discover their true self, who they are versus who they've been wearing the mask of. I remember Lewis Howes wrote a book called The Mask of Masculinity. Well, there's not just a mask of masculinity. We all wear a mask to cover up who we are. What would it look like for us all to walk around in our own authentic selves? Just like you, right?
Will you
That's why you're so
inspire
impactful.
Well, thank you. And I know accountability is such a big thing because all of us can go to Amazon and buy the top 10 best-selling transformation books, but unless you have an accountability partner who's staring you in the eye and meeting with you and saying, "Did you do this?" like we talked about.
Yeah.
So talk about the importance of having a coach.
That is, to me. So let's. I'm going to answer the question this way. All the successful people you know in your life, in this country even, right? Tiger Woods, I think he had maybe 5 coaches, maybe more. Michael Jordan, he might have had 10, right? They all had coaches. Why? Because they know that someone gets to support them in the thing that they want. And they know, left to their own vices, they're not going to accomplish it in the time they're wanting to accomplish it. So why would you want to be by yourself and waste the time when you can have someone who's going to call you on your, say BS.
Stuff. Yeah, BS.
Call you on your BS, right? Call you on you being your word to yourself, right? And because you're not going to hold yours. Okay, you want a chocolate cake. You're going to go to the refrigerator, you're going to get the chocolate cake. If you had a coach and you had a weight coach and the weight coach says no chocolate cake until 3 months down the road, then that's different, right? You're going to accomplish your results in the time that you said that you wanted. That's being your word. And so many times, that's one of the things I've learned in transformation. We have a habit of breaking our words to ourselves. And that's the biggest challenge. So a coach is necessary or you're not going to make it, really.
Well, you were telling me a story right before the show, and I want you to share it with us. You took somebody who had a 5-year goal and turned it into 5 months.
Yeah. So, and let me answer the question you had asked. What do I talk about when I speak? I talk about vision, values, mission, and beliefs. Those are the 4 things that I believe once you get those good, you're on your way, right? I had a client who, she didn't even have a vision when she came to me, Jeff. She didn't have a vision. Well, we sat down, we did some strategic planning, and what we came up with, she actually accomplished within 5 months. That was a 5-year plan that she accomplished in 5 months. What did that take? That took accountability. That took somebody asking her on a daily basis, have you accomplished what you said you were going to do today? Did you do it? Right? Because everybody wants money, but you got to take action.
Yes.
Right? And at Great Inspired Live, we're going to talk about action because not all action is equal. There are different actions that you get to take.
Well, she's tough. She's very loving, but she's going to get you out of your comfort zone. Yes. And I went on your YouTube channel. There's dozens and dozens of videos that you're welcome to watch for free. Mm-hmm. I found one that I liked. You made it not long ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Okay, y'all. I want to talk to you for a minute. Here's the thing. All the money you want, all the relationships that you want, the kind of relationships you want, the business you want, anything that you want in your next level is on the other side of being uncomfortable. You gotta literally reinvent yourself to get to that level. Because what got you here to where you are as you're listening to me right now is not the same person. Not in the least that's going to get you to the other side of what you want. So I'm going to say to you, are you ready to get to the other side? What are you willing to give up to get to the other side? And who gets to support you to get to the other side? Post in the comments. Let me hear what you're hearing. Bye.
And there are dozens and dozens of videos just like that. And I like that you're putting it out there. That wasn't on a teleprompter. You're just talking.
Yeah. I think I forgot what I was doing. I might have just come back from a walk. I think I did like 6 miles. I'm like, oh God. Hey, uncomfortable. I want to stay fit, right? Longevity, right? We're gonna deal with that at Great and Thrive Live as well. We're gonna take care of the ladies who come into the room.
And I said something off the top of the show that a lot of us like to play the blame game.
Yeah.
But when you have a coach, they cut through that, don't they?
Yeah. Because society has actually groomed us, and I don't want to use that word. There's groomed us to look outside of ourselves, right? So it's always somebody else. It's always somebody else's thing, right? It's never the person themselves. So I'm here to shift that for the people who are ready to do that. And when you shift into your responsibility, responsibility doesn't mean blame or shame or anything like that. Responsibility means, how do you respond, your response to any given challenges, situations, people, other things, right? So responsibility is a huge piece of this whole puzzle.
And I know a lot of people feel stuck right now. I think the surveys show that, something like 30% of people want to quit their job tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're stuck. They're going to a 9-to-5 that they hate. So what's your advice to that person who's either thinking about changing careers or going out on their own? What's your advice?
I would advise you to go for it. You just get to get the support, right? And it's an investment in yourself. Don't look at it as another, another thing that you got to pay for, right? It's an investment in you.
Yes.
If you can bet on you, there's no limit. People say sky's the limit. I don't say that. There is no limit when you bet on you.
Well, one of my favorite quotes is from the great Les Brown, and he tells a story about he's walking down the street and there's a dog sitting on a porch that is just howling. And he says to the old man on the porch, why is that dog howling? And he says, the dog's sitting on a nail. And he says, why doesn't the dog get off the nail? And he says, I guess it's not uncomfortable enough.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of Les is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
So talk about that. I think that describes millions and millions of people who are sitting on a nail right now.
Yeah.
It's just not uncomfortable enough.
Whenever you don't make a move, take the case that's just it. You're not in enough pain. I tell that to my clients when they don't do what I talk to myself that way. Girl, you're not in enough pain to make a different decision, right? And by the way, the word decision means, if anybody knows or don't know, cut off. When you cut off any other possibility, then you're not going to go back, right? So, if you get uncomfortable enough, if it gets painful enough, you will make a change. And you will be glad you did, because you're going to see the result. When you see the result, that you're going to be happy, but you gotta walk that walk, you got to walk through the pain.
So one of the taglines that I found on your website was from feeling abandoned to awakening success.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Back in high school, I used to feel really abandoned in high school because everybody has cliques, right? But I finally figured out that you don't necessarily need a clique when you have yourself. When you have yourself and you stand for yourself, you can do anything. You can be in anybody's clique, but you gotta have a stand for yourself. When you're I don't want to say self-proclaimed, but self-defined, you're in so much of your power, and nobody can take that from you. So that's what I mean by that.
I can see why you're so successful with women. You're also a very popular guest on different podcasts. We've got some video that we're going to put up on the screen. You do have the heart of a teacher. You like to educate, don't you?
Absolutely. It's and I don't know where I got that from, really. I've just been a lifelong learner. I believe we all should be lifelong learners, because I always say, the minute you think you know everything, you've lost. Anytime, if you, I know that already. take the case that there's a little bit more to that little thing that you know that you don't already know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So I've been a lifelong learner, and I intend to continue to be a lifelong learner.
And coaches can help you see a blind spot. We all have blind spots.
We all have them.
And sometimes it takes somebody, a fresh pair of eyes like yours.
Yep.
You would tell them something that their best friend or their spouse might not tell them.
Yeah, because the best friend and the spouse, they have a sort of vested interest in you being comfortable. Yeah. So if you want the change, you got to go outside of that comfort zone, that sphere of influence. Sometimes they may think they have your best interests at heart, but lovingly they don't, because they don't have the big vision of what's in your heart, right? And did I just?
No, you're fine.
Okay. You just get to look outside of your sphere for the support that you get to have, because they're not gonna tell you, because they don't want to hurt your feelings. They want to be liked. Most people want to be liked,
Yes.
So.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes left. The show went so fast I could talk to you for an hour and a half. But let's have a call to action, specifically the event that's coming up very quickly.
Yeah, so if there are ladies out there who are ready, I'll say it one more time, ready, willing, and just want to have a really prosperous 2025 and beyond, I think you should be in this room. This room is going to be highly curated. It's going to be a sacred space. We're not doing videos or anything like that. This is your discovery. This is your acceleration for the next level of your life, both in business and in life, because believe me, they're not separate.
Outstanding. Drop the mic. That's a great way to end the show. We're also going to leave you with her website so you can get in touch with her for all your speaking needs. It's lornasherland.com. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.